Hello and welcome to Rise Above the Grind. I am your hostess, the Consultress, Alissa, bringing you conversations that are changing the conversation out in today's business landscape and the way we produce value for one another. Because things are not going back to normal, the status quo. We are disrupting the industrial age of thinking and ushering in the most prolific, prosperous, and personal zone of genius for most people who are out there doing business and creating value today. So I bring some of the world's best entrepreneurs to this stage, and I am so grateful to bring to you all today Miss Tildet Varon. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I can tell your eyes just light up. And so the reason I asked you to this conversation is because we've met, we've been introduced by a couple of my very trusted advisors and colleagues. And what I want to kind of open the discussion with today, as per usual on this conversation, is how do you define the word grind?
Yes, grind to me is when you are in autopilot and you're just doing and doing, but your doing and being are not aligned. So your calendar is full, you have a big checklist, you're checking it out, you're meeting deadlines, you're just running and running. And it's very sneaky because from outside, it looks like you may be very productive and or successful, but inside there's tension. Inside there's this questioning, can I really sustain this? How long can I keep going on like this? Where am I going? What is happening? So it is that hamster wheel that we keep going, and we don't know what to do. And we keep disconnecting from who we are and losing ourselves in the doing.
Oof. I mean, dagger in the heart, like tell it how it is. The hamster wheel grind of doing to deserve is the thing that depletes you the most. And what I'm hearing, what I picked up from what you've said so far is just that you sometimes, because of these habits, the way things are continuously done or have always been done, you lose sight of what's important to you, sometimes lose yourself in that pursuit. And so I think that what you talked about, the alignment of who you are with what you do in today's day and age and today's prevalent conversations of rise and grind, you get lost. Sometimes the purpose of why you're doing something, the reason why, is it bringing revenue? Is it bringing clients? Is it goodwill? Like why you're doing things now becomes front stage in the conversation. So, changing, I think the reason why you've been invited here is because you're changing this paradigm in a lot of ways. And so this grind of hamster wheel, like it sounds like you know it pretty intimately, yeah?
Oh, yes, I've been there, I've done it.
Yeah, well, we want to know. I mean, like, give us a peek behind the curtain there. Like, how has that showed up for you?
Yes. Well, at some season in my life, let's call it, I was also lost in the doing. I was just doing because I thought success comes from pushing. It comes from working hard. And and I thought if I worked harder and harder and showed up and said yes to everything, I will get where I need to go faster. But that was all a myth. And I learned pretty fast and in a hard way that pushing hard was really depleting me, exhausting me, and it was leading to burnout. And I not only know this intimately with myself, I also know it intimately with the people I work with, because family business leaders are the same way, right? They're going to work hard. They're going to want to give everything to their family business. And I think, like myself, sometimes we think we need to burn out to be successful, and we need to grind to be worthy or respected.
Oh, I mean, let me just like anybody else like feeling the depth of this is it's the we feel that there's this unattainable level of success that's beyond what we are capable of, that not enoughness that perpetuates the doing without reflecting. And so, what I want to just tease out of your story here is that burnout piece is doing without reflecting of, has this worked? Did I accomplish what I set out to? Or am I just behaving unconsciously and doing the things I think I need to do without understanding if they're really creating the results that I want? And that reflective piece has to come into perspective with the doing piece. Because if you, for example, when I was just starting my consulting practice, my children were very little, and I would go to events in the evenings, I would go to events in the morning, and I would come home in between all of this stuff and try to squeeze my life in. And what I found for myself was that I wasn't spending quality time with my family that I was doing all of this for. And then I started to resent them, and I started to resent my business. So when I was working, I was resenting the fact that I wasn't home. And then when I was home, I constantly had this business on the brain that had me resenting that I wasn't out working, and I felt guilty. So I trapped myself in between a rock and a hard place with all of this doing in both arenas in my life, both personal and professional. So I know that you support small businesses and family businesses, Tildet. And so, how do you see this resolving? Like, tell us about some places where you find people stuck in this paradigm of grinding it out or depleting themselves in the pursuit of quote unquote success. And then, kind of what happens after you've, done the deep dive and created some solutions. Tell us some of the benefits that come from being aligned, like you said.
Yes. I love what you just shared. You went right to the eye of the target. And what I learned, observing myself first and then observing my clients, is what you just brought up. How do we take the time to reflect? So now I work with them not to push harder, but to lead differently, to have pause moments. We need those pause moments where we can reflect, we can ask the questions, we can just sit with ourselves and see where we are, where we want to go, and the framework of first be, then do, then have. So, who do I need to be? And what aligned actions can I take to have this dream that I have for myself, for my business, for my family, for the whole world, however big we are dreaming, right? I'm a big dreamer, and I have a lot of things I want for myself, my family, and humanity. And to do that, we need to lead differently and understand not doing. But when I say not doing, that doesn't mean giving up everything, but pausing, reflecting, contemplating is as important as doing. So there is time to be in the business, there is time to be on the business, there is time to contract, there is time to expand, and the rhythms of life. And that is what I'm working with my leaders to do. And, gradually I've learned to do that for myself so I can share and guide others to do the same thing. And it makes such a big difference.
I mean, it does. It doesn't. So I just want to tease out for those of us who are hard-headed, like the be, do, push, A type success, go after it. Inside of that can also be this very quiet voice that says you can't stop, because if you stop, you're going to fall apart. If you stop and you pause, or you stop, take your foot off the gas for even a moment, there's a fear under there that's saying you will lose everything you've worked for. Nothing can sustain. You need to be on in order for your business to work. Now, I know I've counseled hundreds of people, and this is the same fear in entrepreneurship, in owning your own business and being responsible for your own book of business. This is the same fear, I think, that has been installed in us through the industrial age of humanity, right? You're part of a big machine. If you're not at your station picking up the cookies like Lucille Ball, right? If you're not there, then the whole system's going to fall apart. Like, you have to be on. And so your imperative here, like the thing that you're embodying, demonstrating, and then teaching going forward, is that pause and reflection is a necessary part of progress. It's not like this, I'll get to it if I get to it when my foot's on the gas and someone else has the wheel. But really, truly, you have to be able to step back to see what is working, and that you might be driving the wrong car. You might have the wrong fuel in your tank. You might not even be on the right map. But that only way that you're going to see that is if you pause. So it's addressing that fear head on, that you must pause. And so how have you seen people overcome that fear of, but if I stop, it'll fall apart? Like, how has that shown up in your
Yes.
business?
It is a challenge. Some people grasp it faster, some people don't, because with it comes guilt, right? Especially in family business, there are family dynamics that's also playing. So there's a lot of guilt. There is a lot of, and they're not doing it because they don't care. They're doing it because they care so much, right? Yes, yes. And so once though they start seeing the benefits of the shift, it's a mindset shift. Once they experience it, because I can't tell them till I turn blue, till they experience it, they're not going to understand. Once they understand, wow, I'm enjoying life more. Wow, my decision making has become better. Oh, I can hear better. I can see better. I have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
My relationships are getting better. And that starts changing it. And a lot of the times leaders come to me, I think it's with the same lines you're touching on, Alissa. They're coming and they're saying, I need time management because I have all these things to do. How do I prioritize? How do I do time management? What do I do now? Oh my God, I need to do more. And to me, energy management is more important than time management. And the energy management comes from the pauses. From, you said they're running in the car. Do they have the fuel? Do they not have the fuel? Well, if they don't have the fuel, at some point they're gonna come to a full stop.
Full stop.
Full stop, and they're not going to go anywhere. So a lot of the times I use the analogy of the phone, right? Everyone is checking their batteries. Oh, I have 80%, I'm safe. Oh, 20%, do I have my charger with me? So my question usually is, how many times a day do you stop and check your own battery?
Yeah. And that, my friend, is like the beginning and only the tip of the iceberg of learning habitually how to pause and reflect as
Yes.
you go for the grand pursuit of success. Whatever that success is defined in your own right, you get to define the success, but you also get to define the tools, how to preserve your own battery. And maybe you need to go and plug in to the wall and just stop driving. And I think it's really important to create a habit of reflection so that you're, again, like that, the wheels are going to fall off, the fuel tank's empty, you're going to grind to a halt, and then you won't be able to pick back up again. So that's the antithesis of the fear, I think, is, if you're afraid to stop, you're actually not seeing the opportunity cost of what you are leaving on the table because you're not stopping to get a breath, because you're not stopping to gain perspective. That is absolutely crucial. So we're going to take this conversation live into our VIP area real soon. But for those on the broadcast listening to the podcast, where can people go to find out more about you and how you serve in family businesses?
Yes, once you learn my name, the rest is easy, Alissa. The hardest part is learning my name. So Tildet and at tildet.com. So everything is with Tildet. I made it easy. The hardest part is Tildet. Once you get that, the rest is easy. So my website is tildet.com. My email is tildet@tildet.com. So everything starts and ends with Tildet.
That's true. And she is aligned with that message. So tildet.com. Thank you. You've been amazing guests here. We're going to go participate live with our studio audience. If you are listening to this broadcast, stay put. We have another amazing episode lined up for you right after this. Don't go away.